Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about the Spring Framework. So Spring Framework is basically used to develop the Java web applications. So it provides many functionalities. So what are the main highlights of the Spring Framework is it has a predefined templates like JDBC, Hibernate. So if you want to connect to any database, so it has a predefined templates already defined. So we can write, we don't need to rewrite the code again and again. And we have this loose coupling concept which can be achieved using dependency injection. So whenever there are multiple objects in runtime, we want to inject that object without knowing at the compile time. For example, if you are developing a computer, let's assume this computer as a class. Then, for example, it has an object called RAM, and this RAM can be developed by can be manufactured by multiple companies. For example, it can be made by SanDisk or else in a terabyte. And you want to change this in runtime based on according to your need. So for that we need to inject this object on the runtime. Then we can easily test these what are the Spring application we are writing without any need of the server. And also this Spring has the concept called POSO classes. So here we create every class as a POSO class, means plain old Java object. So it doesn't have any inheritance or any interfaces. It will have a members and the methods. That's it. And we can develop easily since it has a template already predefined. You can easily follow the same template to define your own. And it also we can call Spring Framework also a framework of frameworks because it supports the other frameworks as well like Hibernate or Struts inside the Spring Framework. So we'll see so if you see the main core containers of the Spring Framework or Spring core containers, then these are like a core container, beans container, and context container. So these are on runtime. We are going to create the objects by passing values to the XML. And next one is related to web related. Like example, if we are developing any servlets and we need to handle the requests coming from the user, like those kind of classes are defined in this web related one. Then similarly, if you are connecting with database, then you obviously need the corresponding classes. Those are defined in this data access classes. So we'll learn about more about each individual component like Spring Core container, then web and DAO. Then we'll combine all of them and we'll finally create one application. So let's study about the dependency injection. So before going into the dependency injection, let's create one project. Okay. So if you have seen my earlier video, I have showed how to set up Java and VS Code with all the plugins. So I'm directly going to follow that video, then you can go ahead and create new project, and you can type for MVC. So you can select this basic MVC template you will get. So earlier, if you don't have any IDs, we manually have to create these folder structures, everything. Now, since we have the IDs, Maven, it will easily create a project. So here you can see the project got created. Now, to start the Spring, first we need to have the dependencies, the jar files which are required to run the Spring. What are the key containers we need for the dependency injection? This core bean context. So these we can get it using the Spring context. So you can go to the net and you can search for Spring Framework. Then you can go to Maven repository and select the Spring context. I am taking the latest version. You can copy this dependency and add it in the pom.xml. So once you add the dependencies, the jar file will be automatically added to your project. Once it is added, let's write a simple example. Okay. First, what we will do, we'll create an object called we are trying to create a restaurant, right? So let's create a restaurant only. Restaurant Java. Let us create one class called student Java. Now here we are going to create two variables. Let us call one is roll number. The second one may be the name. Now we'll create one main class. So let's call it as test.java. That's right, main. So generally how you will create object of student. So first let us create one getters and setters. You can go to source action and click on get setters and getters for both of them. Okay. Then you go here and create object of student. Student is equal to new student. Now s dot set name frame and let's set the roll number. S dot set roll number as 30 for example. Let's go to here and we'll add a function to display the variables we are going to set. Let's set it as void display. Let's print these two variables. Name will be the name. Then we'll add the age. Age equal to age. Okay. Then here we are going to call object of s dot display. Okay, let me run this one. Sorry, and this should be the roll number. We'll go here and let me. So here it is the basic. Got. Now we need to define a bin here. Now inside bin we need to define id equal to student. This should be in developers. And what is the class? It is inside com dot example dot student. Now here we have two ways to pass the variables. One is through the getters and setters. The other one is to the constructor base. First we will try with the getters and setters. So let us write it as property name equal to name, and what is the value you want to pass. For example, I want to pass train. Then next property will be age. Next property name equal to roll number, then the value equal to 30. Now let's go to the test.java, and instead of this, let's create using the Spring. So we have this class called application context. This is an interface which is implemented by the class path XML application context. So here you can pass the XML file path. Now, what exactly this class path XML context will do? We'll go and read this spring.xml, and whatever the arguments we are passing, those will be passed to the object in the runtime. So once it is, for example, we define the beans, right? So if you see spring.xml, we have a bean called student. So it is going to create an object called student, and it is going to set the name and roll number to the student. So let us see. I am just running. Okay. So this we should need to write it as value. Close the property. And similarly we want to do it for roll number as well. Roll number. Now okay, we haven't got any error. Now this application context has already created the object of student. So let us get that object. Student s equal to application context dot get bean. We need student, and we need to typecast. The default will be the object type. We have to typecast it to the student. Then let us print the values s dot display. Now this get bean function takes the argument name, which is nothing but the ID which we have defined in the bean name. So we are going to give this ID to get the object of student. Now go here and let's run this. Yeah, you can see we got the name as Prem and roll number as 30. But the one problem we can see is, so whenever this application context starts, it is going to create all the objects irrespective you need it or not. For example, in the application context, if you define 100 pins, it is going to create the 100 pins. So for that, what we can do is, we have two types of ways to create the object. That is called scope. So scope can be, one is singleton, the other one will be the prototype. So By default, it will be the singleton. That means object will be only created once when we initialize the application context. The second one is prototype. So this is the lazy initialization. So the objects will be created only when you ask for it. For example, let me create one more object, student. So let me write this one is S1, this one is S2. Now let's check both objects are equal or not. If S1 equal to S2, S1 equal to S2, system dot out dot print both are same. Okay, let me run this one. Both are not same because we made scope as prototype. So let me make this as singleton. And let me go back and run again. Both are same. So we can also check this one by having a constructor. So let me define one constructor here. So declare public student dot out dot println inside student constructor. Okay, let's go back to the test and rerun this exam. So we see only one time the construction is being called when you make scope as a singleton. If you make it as a prototype, let's go back and rerun. You can see it is called twice. Every time whenever user is requesting the bin, the object is getting created. Now here, currently we are passing the arguments through getters and setters. What if we want to set them using the constructor? For example, let us create a constructor. So sections, generate constructor for both value should be int. So let's 60. Let's run it. Okay, now we got name, roll number, name, roll number. So we can see we can inject the dependencies in two ways. One is to getter and the other one is to constructor. What if it has a reference of one more object? For example, let us create one more class called college, and it has a variable called name. Name. Let us create getter and setters and go to form.xml. Then we need one more bean. property as name, and college name, let's give it as Meva. This ID is college. Now here we want to pass that as an argument. Let us take this one. Name is C, and what is the reference? Here is in college. Now let's go back to the student in the display. Let us add the college name as well. College name is C dot get name. Here I am creating college C. We also need the getters and setters so that Spring can inject the object in the runtime. Okay. Now let's go back to the test and let it run. You can see we got the name, roll number, and college. So here what we did in the student class, we have a reference of college C, and this college C is being injected on the runtime. Spring framework has injected. So whenever there is a being called college, so it is going to automatically inject the college to this student. And currently we have only one XML. What if we have multiple XMLs where we depend? So let us create one more XML where we will say college.xml, and let me take this and put it here. Here it requires only the college related definition. Here let me comment out the college. Now how here college bean is depending on the XML, student is depending on the XML, and student wants to use the college bean. So how it is going to use? So we need to tell our Spring framework, here I have two XML files, you need to read them both. So if you go to the test.java, currently we are only reading one XML. So to read multiple XMLs, we need to pass the list of XML files. That is new string. One is spring.xml. What is the other one we have? college.xml. Comment it out. First I will remove college.xml so that we get that error now being formed. Let me run. So it is saying now being named college because it only read the spring.xml and spring.xml doesn't have the references related to college. Now I have added a college.xml. Now we should have created a college.xml, college.bean, and that should be injected into the student. So let me read an example again. So what exactly this thing? Something messed up in the by commenting. So what did we have? Let me remove everything for better clarity. We have here already have somewhere I have this. maybe run. Yeah, we got. So what we have done in the class today, how we can inject the dependencies using data run setter and constructor based, and what is the singleton versus prototype, and how we can reference one class in another class, and how exactly Spring is going to inject those dependencies on the runtime. So that's all for today. Tomorrow we'll learn about the other containers, web-based containers, and the data access containers. Thank you.